Today's video is going to be a pretty quick one. We're going to transition from doing our what are called arithmetic series to something called a geometric series. And so I've got both of them on the screen right now, different examples. With the arithmetic series, what you can see is we end up adding common terms over and over and over and over again. The only difference between an arithmetic series and a geometric is instead, for geometric, we're multiplying by a common term over and over again. So for your geometric, I'm just going to go straight to giving you the formula. If you know how many items you have in your series, this is the formula that we'll use. And as you can see, as I wrote above, A1 is your first term. Your R is the multiplication rate. And N is the number of terms you're adding together. So for this example, when I have 3 plus 3 times 1/3 plus 3 times 1/3 squared plus 3 times 1/3, I can see that my first term, change the color there. My first term is your 3, and every time you multiply, you're multiplying by 1/3 over and over and over again. And I can see from just counting out the terms, I have 4 terms here. So if I wanted to find the sum of this series, I would take 3 times 1 minus 1/3 to the 4th power all over 1 over, or all over 1 minus 1/3. So I'm going to use Excel, show you how to do the math there. So what I have here is, remember, you have an equal sign you need to use. And here's actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to type in my important numbers. I've got a 3, I've got a 1/3, and I've got a 4. And you can see there my 1/3 auto-corrected to a date. That's easy to take care of. I'm going to go to Format. So I right-click, go to Format Cells, and I want to change it to a number. And yeah, let's go ahead and change it to a number. Actually, let's leave it as a fraction. Okay, now I'll need to rewrite that one, because it usually changes the date into a fraction or into a number. Okay, so for my formula, I have equals. I have my first term, so I'm just going to click on that. And then I had my parentheses. Oh, and then you will need to put in a times parentheses. Excel doesn't recognize 2 items being next to each other as being multiplication, so you do need to put that symbol in. 1 minus my rate to the 4th power, and then I'm going to close my parentheses, and I'm going to divide by, new set of parentheses, 1 minus, and then I'm going to click on that 1/3 again, the rate. So you can see here, the A1 in my formula is the same as the A1 in my formula. My A2 in this case was my rate, and my A3 on Excel was my N. So I just need to close my parentheses, hit enter, and I get 4 4/9 as my answer. So which I'm going to check something really quick. I was kind of hoping that there was a way to do it as a improper fraction, but I don't see that. But that's okay. What I'm going to do here now is, let's go ahead and change that to just a number with some decimal places. And we can see that that's the same thing as 4.4444 repeating. Okay, so it's all just about putting things into your formula. So for another example here, remember you could have your work written out in summation notation. So with summation notation, it's just a way to write out the problem without actually writing out the problem. Here we have -4 to the j power, and j is going to start on the first term and go to the 9th term. So I've got written out here on the right what that would look like, and I didn't write out all the terms, so I've got that ... in the middle. So you can see, as you move from one term to the next, we have a common multiplication rate, which means that that is your R value. So for your sum, we have your first term, and then we have 1 minus your rate. It just so happens that A, 1, and R are the same things this time. That will not always be the case. But when there's nothing else being added and subtracted inside your summation, then it does happen that way. Alright, and then we've got 9 terms, so we've got it to the 9th power, and then all over 1 minus our rate again. So I want to solve this one for you 2 different ways, using Excel again. Just gonna remove some files so I can see everything. Okay, so if I use my formula, my important values were A1, R, and N. I'm going to label these this time, especially since both my A1 and my R were the same thing. And then I had 9 terms total, going from 1 to 9. So my formula here will be equals my first term times 1 minus my rate to the n power, close your parentheses, and then divide by 1 minus your R. Now you, of course, you're welcome to do this in Desmos or on your own calculator. That's okay. I just like teaching you little Excel tricks as we go. And then I like this also because if I want to do the kind of the long form of summations, it's really easy to do on Excel, like I'm going to do in a moment. Alright, so here I get my sum, a very large negative number. Now if I wanted to check this to make sure I'm right, my first term, remember, so I'm going to do an A1, and I'm going to call these A2, A3, and all the way down to my A9. So in other words, my first term, second term, third term, fourth term, fifth term, sixth term. My first term was -4, and then my way to move from that first term to the second term was I took the first term and I multiplied it by -4. So -4 squared is 16. And then once I have that pattern, take it and drag it down to the end. And then to find your sum, you say equals sum. And then just highlight all of your numbers inside parentheses, of course. And we can see we get the same thing both ways. So for your homework tonight, all I want you to do is I just want you to practice with the formula. If you have questions, let me know. We are coming up on time for your midterms. So I am going to plan on finishing series. I've got one more lesson I'm going to do on series, and it's going to be another short lesson. And then we're going to give you your practice test and your real test. I'll talk to you more about that when we get there. So if you have any questions, like always, come visit me at my office hours sometime between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Monday through Friday. And either send me an email or go to my Canvas conferences and talk to me there. I'm on it every day during my office hours, just waiting to see if you have any questions. Okay, hope you're doing well, hope you're staying safe, and hope everybody's healthy where you are. I will talk to you later.